Good morning. Today's video will be about Amy's dilemma on her decisions. Here is the scenario. Amy does not enjoy working for her boss because of their difference in working styles. But she enjoys working with her manager, Jane, and she has learned many new skills from her. Not only that, Amy's capabilities had also grown a lot under the guidance of Jane. However, Amy has decided to leave the company as she does not think that her career path would improve because of her boss's vision and capabilities. As the previous project had been wrapped up beautifully, Jane naturally included Amy into the team for the new project. But Jane is not aware that Amy has the plan to leave the company. The question and dilemma here is, as Jane had been treating Amy and her team well, and Amy appreciates the knowledge and guidance from Jane, should Amy inform Jane in advance about her resignation so that Jane could find a replacement in time for the new project, and therefore her work could be smoother compared to if she was not given the heads up? There are always two paths that could be taken in most scenarios. One is the logical path, and the other one is, yes, you guessed it, the emotional path. The logical path is just to follow the company's protocol, submit the resignation letter as required, and wait for the approval. The emotional path would be to consider the feelings of someone we care about. In this case, Jane, who guided Amy well. One advantage of choosing the logical path is no one can logically fault you for doing or not doing something. The downside would be everyone would probably still remember what you did, what you did not do, and what you could have done. Notice the underlined keywords. It is something like, the law cannot find you guilty enough to punish you, but people probably still remembers you, but for the bad reasons, of course. The advantage of taking the emotional path is you will feel much better after following your heart to help someone you care about, regardless of the outcome. Although it would be even better if he or she appreciates it. One downside that I can think of is you care about someone, and this makes yourself think a lot, sometimes too much, and it affects your daily mood. This is not healthy if it happens too often. Both paths usually contradict each other because if we take one, we can't be taking the other. Both paths has their pros and cons. What should we do? Which is a better path to take? There is never a better path. There could at most be a more suitable path. There are times we need to take the logical path, while there are times the emotional path is more logical. No, you haven't heard me wrong. Why would an emotional path be logical? If you had noticed, the underlined keyword I use is need. We could use potential loss and potential gain as a gauge to determine which is the more suitable path to take in different situations, when or if we are stuck. The logical path is to just tender our resignation and let the company operate as usual. The advantage is we could potentially avoid possible chances to be faulted because you can't be wrong to want to leave the company, can you? And of course, the disadvantage would be, although no one can fault us, they might definitely remember us for not being the nicer person we could have been, to inform them in advance. Agree? If we take the emotional path to inform Jane in advance, there is a chance we might be able to gain a friend, because we would have supposedly reduced future possible problems for our beloved manager since she has been a good mentor. She definitely deserves some love from people. So, what bad could there be? Colleagues might think we are the hypocrite, trying to be the nice person while leaving them with more work to do. Have you noticed something? Regardless of the path we take, there could always be good thoughts and bad thoughts. No matter what we do, there will always be something bad for someone to stir up with, to criticize about. But remember, there will also be something good for someone to say too. Just that they might not sound it out. But I am sure they know it deep down their hearts. It always feels better to criticize people because it will seem like he or she is better. Follow your character. Follow your personality. Do you want to be free of faults from people, or do you want to take this chance to gain a friend? Follow your character. Follow your personality. I wholeheartedly believe that every action has its consequences. Even kind deeds have consequences too. For example, you have always gotten first in a subject at school, and you help a classmate with some questions he had difficulty to answer. Now that you have helped him, he surpassed your grades and got first, while you got second because of some careless mistakes. Some might felt regretful for helping him because you got second and missed the chance to get on the stage to receive the Best Subject Award. If you did not guide him with those difficult questions, even if you had careless mistakes, you will still be getting first. Would some of us think this way? There are two ways to look at this. If getting first is your priority, if getting first is more important than being kind and helpful, then probably you should not have helped in the first place. Since you helped, it tells us that you are kind by nature. Don't forget, being first and not kind has its own consequences for you to face as well. You could be first and kind, you could be second and kind, first and not kind, or second and not kind. It is up to you to decide. Of course, the best scenario would be first and kind, right? I think we should be responsible for the careless mistake that caused the first place instead of blaming ourselves for being kind. Don't you agree? Back to Amy. Another way to view this question is to ask yourself whether you would hope your colleague would preempt you before he or she is leaving when you are the manager this time. Putting yourself into others' shoes can help you to make more suitable decisions. Yes, not everyone thinks the same as us. So does that mean we ignore the consequences and just act as if it is not our business to care about? Maybe, but not for me. I always believe we should do things in a way where we treat others just like the way we want others to treat us. I believe you understand the message I am trying to convey. What if you treat someone with kindness, but you were treated with betrayal in return? Well, this is simply a filtration process. It helps you to filter out who are the ones worth your time and love, and who are the ones that should be left behind. I hope the video had been useful, and if you have some scenarios that you need another perspective from a stranger, I would be more than willing to chip in so that we could all learn from each other. Smile.